Hello, Zelda fans and bingo enthusiasts, and welcome back to this Bingo Bash in Breath of the Wild, featuring taykage and KatieShesko. My name is Lego, and I'm joined here in the commentary booth by the one, the only, the crazy AZ, and Tay, who is also playing, and Katie, who is also playing. Everyone's here in the booth. How are you doing, Crazy?
I'm doing good, thank you. Excited to watch this match.
I'm excited too, guys. This is the first time I'm commentating Breath of the Wild Bingo, but if you recognize my voice, I am also commentating a lot and playing in the Super Mario Sunshine Bingo League. So I think I'm up to speed on all of the wacky and wild adventures our competitors will be getting up to here as we wait for the card to be revealed and we wait for them to be underway.
Excellent, excellent.
Looks like they're just loading up their saves right now.
Yes, for those of you who might not be aware of how Breath of the Wild Bingo works, both our runners have pre-set up a save file where they have completed the full tutorial or Great Plateau section of the game and received the paraglider without picking up any additional items. So they have their 4 runes and they have the paraglider, and that is it. They're going to both start at the top of Temple of Time in order to complete the rest of the objectives.
Looks like the card's revealed as well. So I believe this is single bingo. So they're looking to complete 1 row here. Any fast goals jumping out at you right away, Crazy?
Let's see. Trying to see. Well, so things I'm seeing are like the thing in the center is a 1 Divine Beast main quest. Which is
like one of those medium to longer term goals.
Yes, definitely a longer thing. I'm sorry, I'm hearing myself echoing in my head. What is
it potentially from the Discord stream?
Yes, that's right. Okay, cool. Now I can talk because I'm not hearing myself. Excellent. Yeah, that's a longer one. Let's see what looks good here. The other big thing so the big things we look at for Breath of the Wild Bingo will be, does it require you to get a Divine Beast? Because those tend to be slow. And the other thing that is a big, prerequisite for a lot of the objectives is getting the camera. So we notice collect 1 picture memory down there in the corner. That's going to require the camera.
Yeah, which requires you to get over to Kakariko, then over to Hatenyo Tech Lab, and then back to Kakariko.
Yes, indeed. 15 equipment in the compendium will also require that.
And I know a number of the side quests also require various forms of progression, including up to stuff like camera or Divine Beast access, which makes the fact that Divine Beast is right in the center of the card a bit of a tough one, right? Because that obviously is something you're looking for because it can make the most bingos, and not having the ability to sort of get like an easy one right in the middle is obviously slows you down.
For sure. My first glance at this board tells me that there's not a lot of things that I would immediately scratch off as a no-go, which in some sense is harder. Feels like there's a lot of lines that are potentially completable, and it's going to be, I'll be curious to see what our runners choose.
Yeah, I'm seeing stuff like 3 Korok goals feels fast. I'm seeing 8 and 10 towers as well. Not those in the same row, of course, but those are on the other side, much slower. Yeah. There's I think 3 Great Fairies on there, as well as a couple of equipment upgrades. Any of those sort of stand out to you?
3 Great Fairies is fairly expensive. It'll cost you about 1,600 rupees in order to pay the first 3. And then the other big penalty there is that you have to get a decent ways over the map. The first one will, of course, be in Kakariko, which probably go to anyways. But particularly whatever third one you choose is likely to be quite out of the way. Just because they are scattered. The 3 Dueling Peaks Koroks is probably the most trivial thing I'm seeing on here.
So then where does
3
that
Lake
place something
Shrines
like Frog Catching Side Quest?
So the Frog Catching Side Quest is inside Zora's domain. I don't think it requires you to have beaten Ruta in order to do that. So that is not locked behind a Divine Beast, which is good. But someone correct me if I'm wrong there. Yeah, I'm talking about frog catching. And pull up the cheat sheet that talks about which Guardian part Remote Bomb Plus takes. I believe that's Shafts. Oh, I am being informed that frog catching is locked behind Ruta. So that's one of the sort of more hidden goals that you might not getting 5 frogs is not so hard, but you have to have completed the Divine Beast in that region, and that will be the much harder part than obtaining the actual frogs.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, so then you've got top left, bottom right as like a potential row, but then it feels like Wasteland Koroks and Farron Shines is a little bit out of the way as the 5-minute period is up and they are off to the races here. Is that just like too slow to then get across the rest of the map and finish up after doing Zora, or is Zora just like a slow Divine Beast in general, or?
Getting into Zora's domain can kind of be a pain. So, but Ruta is not an inherent. Well, so the weird thing about doing Ruta is that it requires you to get a lot of shock arrows. In most of the like speedrunning categories that end up doing all the Divine Beasts, we end up going to Gerudo first in order to buy all the shock arrows needed for Ruta. Without having that requirement, I mean, there is the 3 Wasteland Koroks, but I doubt anyone would go to the trouble of getting the clothes to get into Gerudo Town. Mm-hmm. I don't really see, generally in Bingo, if you're going for a single Divine Beast, you're going to be going for Meadow in Rito. It's just by far the fastest, and really has no prerequisites other than you showing up with a bow. And even that, it'll give it to you. So, yeah.
I'm just trying to get a sense of like, is there a way to combo Divine Beast with something else in the row column or diagonal? And it sounds like it may just present too much of a out of the way. I'm not seeing any payoffs for heading over towards Rudo stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think given that those are the only 2 Divine Beast requiring objectives on the card, I think it's unlikely we'll be seeing one today. We've got a suggestion in chat about column 4. 15 equipment in the compendium is obviously going to require you to get the camera in order to start taking pictures for the compendium.
Kill a Decayed
and then yes, the other tall
straightforward. 10 towers obviously is going to take a fair amount of time and a lot of motion around the map, but I don't know about Soldier's Armor Star. Obviously requires access to a Great Fairy, but you're going to get that because you're over by Kakariko, and you just need the mats at that point. And 3 Lake Shines doesn't seem too onerous of a requirement.
No, that's pretty easy to get.
So just yeet yourself around the map and grab towers and have a good time?
That would not be my thought of a good time. I definitely am not someone who shies away from the towers, but we'll see. I know Tay at least is quite confident in his Wind Bombs, having done longer categories like All Shrines, and so that might be exactly the kind of thing that he feels is a doable, because it's kind of impossible to avoid some hard objective, and if that could easily be the hard objective that he decides to take on. I think similar to column 4, you see row 5. It has 2 fewer towers. The Snow Quill headdress is pretty expensive, but that could be, I don't know, exchanging out 2 of the towers in exchange for doing some extra
Slightly
rupee
harder
collection.
material requirement in the snow quill headdress. You need for the upgrade, you need red choo-choo jelly, as well as the headdress itself.
Exactly. The red choo-choo jelly isn't that hard to come by because you can get regular choo-choo jelly and put it in a fire to turn it red.
Convenient.
So the fact that it's only 3 means that is not... Our runners will likely encounter choo-choos at some point along their path.
But the headdress itself is a 1,000 rupee requirement out of Rito Village, so gotta farm up some cash.
We see our runners. Oh, where is Katie warping to? This
Didn't
could
quite catch
signal that she is done with her... Oh, and Tay died at the Boko camp that normally used a BTB to bombs. So both our runners in a load screen right now. Katie warping over to Bomb Shrine. Curious. She's planning to, say, pick up some of the rupees in the chests, or the, like, gems in the chests here.
Sellable.
Looks like she's doing precisely that. Yes, this is also fairly near the bog with the fire and ice arrows, which I think are pretty essential. There's very little... You almost always want them in Bingo. There's just a lot of utility there. As we see Katie make her way over to the bog, likely to get those arrows.
So why are arrows so valuable? Is it just because of their offensive capabilities? Is it because you can, there's some utility aspects to them? I imagine that it's probably offensive in nature.
I would say actually, particularly for the fire and ice arrows, you're generally not going to be shooting them at enemies. We don't do a lot of fighting in Bingo. It's generally slow and inconvenient. The fire arrows will let you light fires at the most basic level just to set the time of day. There might be some quests or something that require a specific time of day, so if you can light a campfire and sleep till then, that is very useful. The other thing is that one of the fastest piece of movement tech that we have in Breath of the Wild is a bullet time bounce, which requires hitting an enemy while you're shield surfing in bullet time. On a red bokoblin who's in ragdoll, correct? Exactly. So normally we can only do it on red bokoblins because they are the only enemy with a low enough health to ragdoll when you hit them with your shield. But if you freeze any, I mean, with a few exceptions, but basically any other enemy, if you freeze it first with an ice arrow and then jump on it, they will always ragdoll when you hit them with the shield because you unfreeze them when you hit, and so that allows you to do a BTB off of any enemy that you want. And so that's mainly what those ice arrows are useful for. As it looks like Tay is trying to do a BTB to send him to Kakariko. That'll head him off. It doesn't look very happy with it. He's getting a very high angle.
Right, because it's dependent on when you pop out a bullet time, when you make contact, where you're facing, all that stuff.
Exactly. So he might have just slightly misplaced one of his arrows. He's dropping out early. Probably just going to wind bomb the rest of the way. But if he's going to Hateno, which to get the camera he would need to, the particular BTB that goes from Kakariko to Hateno would require an ice arrow.
Interesting. So it seems like the flexibility that ice arrows provide is very valuable in crossing these vast distances of Hyrule.
Absolutely.
Gonna grab a...
Other interesting thing to notice is that Tay has opted to go for an extra heart from the 4 Great Plateau Shrines, while Katie has opted to go for an extra stamina. I think this might show us a little bit about their playstyle. Tay is, of course, doing a lot of wind bombs already, and these deal a full heart of damage to you each time you get hit by the bomb. And so that puts a strain on your food and your health. Katie, it looks like, is doing much more running, and therefore, getting an extra piece of stamina helps you sprint for longer.
Yep, without having to fall back to whistle sprints.
Exactly. Which is slightly slower than a normal full-out sprint. Katie, working on the Kamyatak Shrine here. This could suggest that she is going for... well, one of the notable things about this shrine is that it has a diamond in it. So could suggest that she is trying to go for one of the, say, Great Fairies, which would require rupees. Or the headdress.
Is it faster to finish out the shrine then, or do you just exit out? Or
you definitely finish the shrine because the diamond is right at the end below it. And so if nothing else, it's a free heal for having completed the shrine.
And I imagine Tay's using lag here to try to get a little more distance out of their wind bombs.
Yes. The going into VR helps you get a little more lag, and if you open up your paraglider on a lag frame, you can get 50% speed boost out of the wind bomb, and can help you clear a farther distance or just go faster.
VR no longer just useful for staring at Hyrule. Helps you get to places a lot faster. Kakariko Village is within Tay's sights, as Katie is taking full advantage of the shrine's many bounties. Going to be well set up with lots of wealth for their future endeavors.
So we see Tay goes and picks up some fairies, which are of course very nice. They'll heal you up if you take lethal damage to 5 hearts, as well as Tay picks up some Endura carrots, which are really nice because when cooked, they will give you a full stamina recharge. Can be very useful. Alrighty, Katie has just about reached the end of this shrine. Yeah, as we see, she goes.
Notably not unlocking the Great Fairy. Is that because you have to progress through quests more, or could you not, or probably not? Doesn't have enough rupees at this time to do it.
Yeah, he would need 100 rupees, and since he hasn't sold anything, I doubt he has that rupees. But also, there would be no reason to do it. Unless he was going to do one of our upgrades or pay Great Fairy.
Yeah, because we were talking about column 4, row 5, which both involve upgrades. Right, so that's the only reason why I was calling it out.
No, it's true. I think. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing one of those, but if he hasn't sold anything, he wouldn't have the rupees to open up the fountain right now. So.
Looks like some
yes, went over, got that topaz. He is now selling his items. Buying the affectionately named coward eggs. Just, a efficient way to pay for more food to help. That for health. See, Katie.
Yep, dying runs the risk of being put somewhere you don't really want to be, because the autosave can be a fickle mistress.
So we see Katie sort of working her way, sort of Rito-wards.
So, you're finally awake.
Could suggest that she's going for row 5 or something like that.
Been quite a long time,
though I guess not really doing a tower.
Older now, but you remember me.
See, Tay here is talking to Impa, which really does suggest that he's going for one of the camera-based objectives. This is
which would
the
be
first
anything
step
with picture memories, compendium, or anything else on the card. I'm not seeing anything else.
I believe those are the only ones. There's the 1 picture memory. There is the 15 equipment and the Is that it? I thought there was another compendium one.
Not seeing it if there is.
If he was going for Remote Bomb Plus, I think he would also need to talk to Impa just to unlock the tech lab that upgrades. So it's possible he wasn't doing camera, but could be going for the Remote Bomb Plus and would still need to do this step.
Right, which would end up being like column 5, row 2, potentially, which would, again, you'd need money for that, pay 3 great fairies or topaz earrings, but it does have frog catching side quest. Requires the divine beast, like you said, so probably closer to a column 5. I think that was also you called that out before, right?
Yeah, column 5 really doesn't look that bad. I think I could definitely see someone doing that. I am not familiar with how difficult 15 Akala fairies is, or Akala Koroks is, but there is some synergy there in that there is a great fairy in Akala. So I could definitely see someone going for that. So you see Katie facing off with a guardian here. Oh no, it gets her.
That is unfortunate.
That is rough. As we see Tay making his way back, so it looks like he is gonna pay this great fairy. And so that I mean
as we've sort of hyper focused on, gives him access to all those equipment upgrades, progress towards pay 3 great fairies. He also triggered the shine just outside of where the fairy is, so he has an easy warp back to Kakariko or to the fairy whenever they so choose. So.
Absolutely.
Tay had about 210, I think, so we'll definitely need more cash if pay 3 great fairies is in their future.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it looks like that autosave for Katie set her back a ways. Back to the completion of Kamiya Talk.
Yeah, no. She was they were just here setting up for a wind bomb not a couple minutes ago, so a bit rough to lose that much progress, but it happens.
Mm-hmm. Does manage to get the wind bomb though. As we see Tay doing a wind bomb that suggests he's now headed to Hateno. I think the fact that he would be doing this right away does suggest that he's doing one of the camera-based things rather than just the remote bomb. Because if it was a remote bomb, you'd probably do Hateno once you had all the Guardian parts you needed.
Yeah, put it
here
off
we'll see the power of the ice arrows. He's gonna freeze the Boko as it walks over here and use it as a platform for his bullet time bounce to Hateno.
I assume the usage of the zoom there is just to set up your position correctly?
Yes, he is using a visual cue on the Boko as a way to set up where he's going to jump on it. Tay looks not so happy with the angle he's getting there. Ideally, he would have gotten a lower angle with some faster speed.
Yeah, this is the second time that happened to Tay. The first BKB was similar in that it was higher than it was far. It seems like it happened again, unfortunately.
Yeah, the first one was probably as a result of him shooting the arrow in the wrong spot. The second one is likely he went into bullet time too soon. Oh no, another death for Katie.
Yeah, Katie's been catching a lot of bad luck as far as deaths go. I think this is their third, because they had that first on Plateau, and then the second to the Guardian. Here's a third.
Wasn't Tay the one who died on Plateau? Unless she had one as well, and I'm forgetting.
Yeah, maybe it was Tay. Blending the two together.
Totally fine. Yep, Tay here gonna come. Probably light. Yeah, he's looking for the mop. No, he has a torch.
And this is a particularly bit of tricky tech too, to get the torch all the way up the hill as fast as possible, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so we're going to actually see Tay here use a glitch known as smuggling. That's going to allow him to... It would allow him to sprint with the torch out if he wanted to. But it will also let him wind bomb with the torch. Or actually, in this case, he's going to use a mop instead of a torch. So you see now he is running with the mop still equipped. And he will also be able to climb and wind bomb with the mop still equipped and lit. And so, yeah, nice little way to short circuit the otherwise very long trek with this flame that you have to keep lighting. Keep lighting the different, basically checkpoints for it.
And 2 very clean wind bombs later, all the way up at the top at Hateno Ancient Tech Lab.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Katie trying to put the stamina to good use, walking towards her destination.
Yeah. She's definitely... I'm still not quite sure what she is going for right now. But she's been walking across the Hyrule Field, which is a notoriously dangerous place. So we see Tay is now getting the camera rune. And I think whether... Well, we'll see. If he ends up going back to talk to Impa immediately, that suggests that he is doing the one picture memory. If all he's looking for is the compendium, he doesn't need to warp back to Impa.
Which would then signal row 1?
It could signal row 1. I think, well, so one thing, I don't know whether this was, how intentional this was, but Tay went out of his way to pick up the mop over the torch. And that could suggest that he is going for the 15 equipment in the compendium, because the mop will be an additional piece of equipment that he can take a picture of. Though I've got to say that golf minigame and Kill a Lionel are not... golf minigame is pretty out of the way for everything else. There is no great fairy near there. I don't know. Row 1... I feel like there are better lines to take than that. Alright, Katie has made her way to castle now. Gets an ancient arrow. This could suggest that she wants to kill a Lionel, because... Wow, yeah. She just trekked all the way there to get an ancient arrow. The only reason I see to do that would be to kill Lionel, because that will one-shot the Lionel.
Don't need it for Decayed Guardian?
It could be for the Decayed Guardian, but the Decayed Guardian would also only require a single shield parry. I feel like that is probably the easier route to go over getting...
Then all that trek.
Arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even if you were worried about dying, I think, unfortunately, she died a couple of times there, and I think getting a single shield parry would have been...
Would have been a little faster, probably.
Yeah.
Tay is heading back. Did talk to Pura immediately, so it does suggest picture memory might be in the cards.
Yep, if he's come back to talk to Impa, almost certainly going for that collect one picture memory. So, one thing that we haven't really talked about, mainly because the one main divine... Yeah, no. I don't think he's doing the diagonal, because we talked about the Divine Beast main quest. But it's worth noting that both column 1 and row 5 require an upgrade, so that also his use of the fairy fountain, or his unlocking the fairy fountain makes sense.
So then it comes down to basically 8 towers versus beat Ganon, then?
Yeah, I could see Tay choosing to beat Ganon. I mean, he hasn't been going for towers, and if he was going for towers, he probably would have gotten Hateno Tower, and Dueling Peaks Tower, and stuff. So, Tay is certainly capable of beating Ganon. He is a more than capable any percent runner. And as we see, Katie here comes to the Coliseum to kill a Lionel. And she is on the board.
Well in advance. So a potential for a row 1 or a column 3. I don't know which. Could be either, but definitely set up and on the board for her single bingo. Meanwhile, Tay gets a nice wind bomb off of the tower on the Great Plateau. And is now making his way off into the distance. Though obviously reducing lag. You probably have a better sense of where he's heading.
Well, it looks like he's heading to Kamyatak here. I'd be curious to see if he actually does the shrine or whether he just wants as a checkpoint. I could see he is doing the shrine. This could still suggest he's doing the Snowquill headdress. This would be the route he would take if he were heading to Rito. As you see, Katie is about to wind bomb off Great Plateau Tower as well. Oh, Tay
just wants
that's odd.
That is a strat.
I think he wanted the diamond, but then ended up going, like, failing to actually get to it.
Will he set up again? Looks like he will.
Yeah, he's coming down for the diamond. So he hasn't been doing towers, but this to me suggests Snowquill headdress.
Interesting. So then he's going to have to double back and get the towers that he ostensibly skipped.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't see a reason for him to be going this way. Unless he actually is planning to do the diagonal. He could also be going to Rito because he wants to do Meadow as his Divine Beast. There is a Great Fairy on the way there. And so, yeah, and Central Tower is also right here as well. I think his next move will sort of determine that. Katie here, back at the Great Plateau Tower.
Yeah, I think Katie's been trying to set up for a wind bomb, and has been having a little bit of trouble getting it right. I saw she's warped back to this spot a couple times, trying to get a good launch. And Tay appears to be heading for Central Tower right now.
Yes, so this could really suggest the diagonal then for Tay, heading off to Central. Looks like Katie is potentially trying to make her way to Kakariko. She's heading off to that Dueling Peaks region. Well, I guess that... Nah, she wouldn't be heading towards the actual Dueling Peaks if all she wanted was 3 Dueling Peaks Koroks. The Dueling Peaks region reaches till right off Plateau, and so there would be 3 easy Koroks there without her needing to get a good wind bomb. Alright, Tay is now also going to be on the board after getting Central Tower. And I think, yeah, that this highly suggests he is going for the bottom left to upper right diagonal.
So money and a Divine Beast in Tay's future. Meanwhile, Katie appears to be more pleased with this particular launch.
Is she gonna... I mean, there'd be no real reason for her to do Bosch Kala other than to heal, but she looks pretty stacked on food. Oh no, we see controller battery warning. Hopefully that doesn't come into play.
No.
Okay, doing some decision making. Okay, goes for a launch. Ooh, isn't happy with it. Alright, manages to get it on the second go though.
Get some stock. I
suspect we're gonna end up seeing another BTB Forte off into the Rio region. Ooh, Katie taking another death. And Tay is off. Hitting another BTB. And yeah, that's going to take him probably he'll just so if you go to the stable at the right before the bridge into Rito, into the Tabantha region, there is a guy who will give you 500 rupees specifically to pay a great fairy. Now, he doesn't enforce this. This is just a nice free 500 rupees, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tay is going there, because it helps fund the pretty significant amount of rupees you would need to activate the 3 great fairies that Tay is trying to do.
Convenient. And very helpful if that's your goal, which it does appear to be Tay's. So Tay's bottom left, top right appears pretty set. Katie is on a quest here to, I think, nope, not caring about the Korok here. Seems to be trying to grab some stamina shrooms and set up for another launch.
Yeah, so my best guess would be that Katie is doing row 1. The additional thing she is doing did not really suggest she's going for column 3, and kill a Lionel is not a random goal she happened to
stumble across. No,
she went out of her way to do that.
Yeah, she definitely was setting up for that. She traveled all that way, died all those times, and managed to pull it off. So it'll be row 1 versus bottom left, top right.
We see her collecting different gems from the ores, because she will also need to get quite a bit of money in order to pay 3 great fairies.
Now, will Katie head to the Rito region? Probably second. I don't know the mechanics specifically of the pay off the great fairy quest. That if you reap more benefits by doing it third versus second, or
the order that you do the fairies in really doesn't matter. The first one you pay will always be 100 rupees. The second one you pay will always be 500, and the third one you pay will always be 1,000.
Right, but I was curious if the quest somehow scaled depending on your progression on great fairies, or if you always got a 500 rupee infusion, whether it was your first, second, or third was going to be.
I believe it is 500 no matter what. But I could be wrong there, but I don't think it scales to pay for whatever fairy order you want.
Bit of a shame. Could have gotten a 10k drop if it was your 4th, right?
That would have been very nice. As we see Tay, I didn't see him talk to the guy, but he definitely did.
I saw the quest pop up. Spending some time cooking. Since you had the opportunity, always helpful to get some food. Can give you
that'll just help you stretch your food farther.
Yep.
At a bare minimum, it doubles the healing powers of all the food you have. And we see Tay making his way to Tenekosa. Probably won't actually do Tenekosa, but there's a pretty convenient moblin near here that I suspect he will be looking to do a BTB off of. Oh, or he's going to get his first picture memory here.
Oh, right. There is a picture memory right here.
Mm-hmm.
Katie also died again, unfortunately. Had to reclaim all of those jewels and gemstones. Appears to be setting up yet again for another BTB.
Mm-hmm. Or wind bomb in this case.
Sorry, wind bomb. I'm going to mix those up forever now.
You're good. She's trying to go at a pretty aggressive angle. I'm having a hard time seeing her mini-map, but wind bombs, because of the nature of dropping you drop the square bomb second most of the time, and when you drop a square bomb in midair, its flat edges are always going to be aligned with the cardinal directions of the map, and so that means that not all angles that you try to wind bomb at are equal. She's trying to do a very ordinal, or your northwest, north-south, northeast, southwest, southeast type directions, and those tend to be very precise about the angle you take. The cardinal directions tend to be a little more forgiving about being slightly off of them.
Interesting insight as Tay prepares to pay off the second great fairy, Katie finally gets her launch. Is now climbing her way up.
What is
height, but runs out of stamina.
Tay, I don't know what the holding the fairies there was for. He's just trying to get more because fairies are, an extremely valuable resource. Will help prevent you from a potential death. Fairy smuggle. I see. I think the game, my interpretation of what he is saying there is that the game kind of doesn't like you having too many fairies, and so if you take those fairies out of your inventory and hold them and pretend you don't have them, the game will be like, we can spawn more fairies and let you have some more. And so he's just tricking it into thinking that he doesn't have as many fairies as he does.
Not as Miyamoto intended. Unfortunately. But good for Tay. A lot of security there. Katie trying to put that little bit of extra stamina to use. Having a bit of trouble climbing up, but making her way.
Alrighty, Tay is probably now looking to make his way fully to Meadow. Ooh. Also gets lag stopped there.
I presume lag stop is the game essentially doesn't have the area loaded, or some mechanic is preventing you from like the area's not loaded where you need to go, or
it's about the game lagging out so much that I hesitate to go into the technical explanation because I don't think I'm necessarily strong enough there to get it fully right. But essentially, there is some sort of Link has two parts, a body and a soul, and that's sort of two different places that it keeps track of where Link is. And if those two get too separated, the game sort of snaps them together and will just stop you. So when there's a lot of lag, that tends to cause the separation there. That will cause Link to just snap and go still. And I believe this is also the mechanic that you're exploiting when you do... Actually, I'm going to stop there, because that is the extent of my knowledge.
That's fair.
But yeah, it's essentially, if you lag out the game too much by moving too fast and not letting it render, it'll just sort of stop you. And so, yeah, you can't, there's limits to how fast you can go on the wind bombs before it just speed caps you and says, nope.
Fair enough. Tay getting the Divine Beast underway. Katie still making her way off in that direction.
Yes, looks like she's still set on going to Kakariko. Gets rid of that choo-choo that's in her way. Katie's struggling with something there on the wind bomb. Not quite sure what it is. They are quite timing specific, and it takes a lot of practice to get that.
Does the timing vary depending on where you're located, such as like on a slope or on a flat ground or something, or is it pretty consistent no matter where you are?
If you're going off of a sloped surface, that can affect your timing, because you do need to make sure there's enough height between you and the ground in order to get bullet time. She was going off of pretty sheer cliffs there, so I feel like that should have been more lenient, but just it's still a thing where you've got to do a pretty rapid set of inputs, and at more precisely than just as fast as possible. Like you need fast inputs, but with specific breaks in your timing in there. And so yeah, it just takes a lot of practice in order to really get that down. She's opting to run. Getting faced down by another Guardian here. Ooh. Yeah, the game is not forgiving when you face Guardians. It establishes pretty early on that they are very dangerous and will kill you by placing one right outside the bomb shrine. And yeah, they basically never become, not scary in this game.
Never quite free as they were.
No.
Well, Katie can set up for another wind bomb attempt here. And again, on that ordinal direction, like you mentioned, could be adding to the difficulty.
Yeah. So we see Tay is now getting ready to get flown up to Meadow by Teba. Really convenient for this divine beast that, like I said, it really only takes you getting to Rito in order to do it, because
a short little mini game and you're pretty much there from the get-go.
Teba supplies you with both a good bow and 20 bomb arrows, which is really all you need. And the Meadow is the only divine beast you can complete without needing to activate the central terminal, so it's pretty fast.
Go for it.
More struggles for Katie with that wind bomb. Looks like she may be opting to take a different route around now to Kakariko than she did last time. Wow, Tay manages to pull off that midair there for Meadow, which is a very difficult one given the wind.
So you mentioned Tay does run any percent, but I presume that this experience may suggest that Tay also runs other categories in this game?
Oh, Tay runs quite a few categories. His main one being all shrines, but I know he has also done any percent, all dungeons, all main quests, and I believe he is working on learning Hundo, 100%. So definitely an experienced runner, and he is no stranger to these divine beasts.
It's interesting in that it seems like Breath of the Wild Bingo does tax your ability beyond just simply any percent. Given that any percent is basically yeet yourself to Hyrule Castle and have a time beating up Ganon, and putting that experience to use here is quite the boon, because it seems like it was a very smooth entry into the Divine Beast.
Yeah, there's some nice visual cues there if you are looking to get into Meadow and take those shots from the very middle of Meadow. There's some very nice visual cues to shoot those turrets. Highly recommend checking that out, because that helped me a lot when I was first learning.
Now, you mentioned that this is the only Divine Beast in which you don't have to hit the central terminal, which is what gives you the map. What makes this Divine Beast different than the rest, then, that allows you to skip that step?
So I believe you basically just don't need to take advantage of the tilting mechanism in Meadow in order to get to any of these spots. There isn't really like a major glitch you need to do to exploit that. It's some pretty basic not basic, you need to learn the route, but it's not any fancy wind bombs or anything. You're just doing the paraglider, taking advantage of the wind streams that it gives you. It's just not a very tightly sealed divine beast from the devs.
Convenient then for bingo goers.
As we see, Katie has now made her way into Kakariko. Likely going to go... Oh, she's going in to the clothes shop. Probably to sell? Yeah. Seeking to sell all the different gems that she has acquired on her journeys.
Quite the wealth of materials, sort of the advantage of all that time spent gallivanting around Hyrule, but obviously put her a little bit more behind to the specific goals on the card than she may have liked, but might be able to leverage the fact that she's got all the money she needs now and won't have to worry about much else.
Yeah, it looks like she's like 210 short. That should be easily made up. That's, you know, a single ruby, or you know, if she ends up going for the same Great Fairy that Tay did, could just be getting the 500. As it looks like she's making her way up to probably activate Talonayag, and suspect she will also take a... Well, okay, we know she's planning to pay 3 Great Fairies, but I suspect she is also going to want to take some of those fairies in order to...
Those would have been helpful a little earlier in the bingo, I would expect, but better late than never, I suppose.
Absolutely. Wow, Tay getting out of the way just before that stasis hammer hit him. And that will be the last terminal. And Rivali's gonna tell him to flap to it, and he's gonna go face Windblight.
Flap to it he will. Katie also taking advantage of those Endura carrots.
Mm-hmm. Curious what she's going for the blue nightshade for.
His aim is dead on. Watch yourself.
Because you can't eat that. It's not food.
And the dying doesn't count for, not dying as in death, but dying as in changing the color of your equipment. That doesn't count for 15 in Compendium, right? Not like some sort of dying would help.
Yeah, the 15 equipment in Compendium doesn't even include armor. That's only like bows and weapons and shields.
Compulsive hoarding may be the reasoning.
See Tay working on Windblight there. Taking advantage of going into bullet time and just unloading those headshots with the bow.
Halfway through, while Katie will pay off her first Great Fairy.
Mm-hmm. And then likely make her way to Impa in order to start the camera quest.
And then hopefully the wind bombs will be more favorable to her. She makes her way over to Hetania to get a clean wind bomb and a clean BTD.
Now's your chance.
See Tay almost out of bomb arrows, but he manages to finish off Windblight. And that, I forget in the rules exactly when he is allowed to check off the One Divine Beast main quest, but
has to be on the quest complete banner, right?
That would make sense. So that'll probably be once he warps back into Rito. But that will yeah, that's essentially over with. Only the cutscenes to skip. Yes, he has to go talk to the to Kennelly, the like Rito elder, in order to actually finish the quest.
And then after that, it's one more Great Fairy and 3 Lake Shines. And Tay will have the bottom left, top right.
Yeah. I suspect that means he's probably going to warp back to Kakariko would be my guess. In order to do 3 Lake Shrines and make his way towards the Great Fairy in... Oh wait, sorry. Lake is not Lineru. I don't know if there's a nice way to route those together. He'll choose either to go to a Great Fairy or to do the lake. Yeah, okay. He is going to Bomb Shrine, which suggests he is going to go work on 3 Lake Shrines now.
Katie, meanwhile, almost ready to head over to Hitanio, get access to the compendium. I mean, we haven't really noticed how many equipment pieces Katie's been picking up along the way. Imagine there's been a few at least in her travels.
Yeah. Tay now struggling to get bullet time off of this shrine pedestal.
Probably a little tight, I would imagine. Not too much height. There it goes.
Yeah. Yep. The more height you have, the more lenient it is on those, but does eventually manage to get it. Pulling off a nice midair there to make it over to don't know the name of this shrine. But yeah.
It's hard to remember. There's 120 of them.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you can keep a few of them straight makes a lot of sense.
Yanaga. All right.
So when it comes to shrines, you identified that the particular one that they both ended up going to that had the diamond in them, or the other one that had like the wide variety of gemstones and equipment. Are there other notable shrines in Breath of the Wild Bingo that a Bingo player who's just starting out should always keep in mind?
Wow, Tay doing something interesting there. I think on most of the shrines, basically as far as warp points, so like, you know, Talonayeg, the one in Kakariko, is very important. But mainly for its location, not because you particularly want to do it.
Right, because all of them give you orbs, but I was curious if both in terms of teleport locations and in terms of contents within, if there's cases like the one that has the diamonds in them, or the one that has the other gemstones and equipment in them, if there's sort of notable ones that every Bingo player should have on their list of like, I need to be able to do X, I can just sort of head in over to here.
Yeah, not a lot of that comes to mind. I do know that in my bingo, my first round exit, it would have been nice to know multiple of the shrines that had ancient cores in them. I know specifically Kaiawan has an ancient core in it, but there's you need 3 of those. I'm told there are more, but I don't know them off the top of my head. It would have been nice to know. Someone in chat has suggested Namaka Oz. That is a test of strength shrine that has a frost spear in the chest at the end of it. Namaka Oz to me is very notable for its location, also with ice whiz robes nearby. So we frequently see a objective like any rod weapon, or kill any ice type whiz robe. And so that's a great place to do those kinds of things. I think another, like, if I think about notable locations, knowing Kaiawan and the forest around it is a very useful place to pick up lots of good food, both hearty food, which heals you to full when you cook it, and Endura food, which fully replenishes your stamina. I think we saw. All right. This is Tay doing Pumagni Tay. Actually, this is a notable one for Bingo specifically, because this is a minor test of strength that contains a Guardian Shield. And so
there's collected Guardian equipment, right, in the goals list. I was browsing that.
Yes, and even specifically collect a Guardian Shield. And there are only 2 minor tests of strength that give you a shield, and so obviously, because in order to get those shields, you need to actually kill the Guardian. Tay is just going to skip it here, because all he needs is the shrine. But the minors are going to be the much faster ones to kill. And yeah, as Tay's pointing out in the chat, the reason he struggled so much with Yanaga is that normally in a speedrun, you would break the blocks up at the top of it using a bomb arrow, but he ended up using all of his bomb arrows defeating Windblight, and didn't have any left over.
Clever trick there. to get the second of 3 lake shines, I believe, for Tay.
Yep. The shrine near Lanayru Tower. I mean, there's a BTB you can do outside of it, off of a Lizalfos. Is that also the one where you can get the Forest Dweller's bow?
Oh, Kofi has the Knight's bow in it.
That might be right. Not one that comes to my mind, but
because I think there's also get a Knight's a piece of Knight's equipment / a Knight's bow, I believe, in the goals list as well.
isn't the well, a Knight's bow should be really easy. Isn't that the one at the top of Temple of Time you get a Knight's bow? That's probably the first item both of these runners picked up.
Oh, well, that's makes it easier then. Oh yeah, just grab it. Just grab it right from the start. Who cares?
Or soldier's bow. I am sorry. Okay. There. All
right. Yes, I was right.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, you were right. I'm not familiar with what's in that chest, but apparently Tay wants it.
He wants it. It's his, my friend.
It's an opal. I guess that will help him pay a great fairy.
Yeah, notably, Tay still needs to get a fair chunk of change. Last I saw, Tay had about 100 rupees, so still needs to get another 1,000 or so. Well, now much closer to that, 826. So that opal will get him most of the rest of the way there.
That's only 60, so he will still need to find some more. Yes, Dakatus, I believe, is lit books. Was that the one you were referring to about near Lanayru Tower, which has the Forest Dweller's bow in it? Yeah, okay. We got there. Forest Dweller's bow, probably not nearly as big in Bingo as it is in 100%. The Forest Dweller's bow is very important because it is a second triple shot bow that you can get in addition to the Great Eagle bow, and allows you to dupe items, dupe weapons, which is really important.
Yeah, then the object map I'm looking at may be lying to me, because if it has a guardian shield in it, that is not what it says. But
no. So Kofi is the other minor test of strength that has the guardian shield, I believe is.
Huh. Well, the object map says it has a knight's bow, so maybe the object.
No, it's because the guardian has the guardian shield.
Oh,
the knight's bow was what is your reward in the chest at the end for having beaten the guardian.
That makes a lot more sense.
As we see Katie doing her torch escort. See that rather than doing a smuggle, she is opting to just throw it and then sprint up to it.
With how rough the wind bombs have been, I do not blame her.
Yeah, and luckily it looks like the weather is holding out. That is, the one worry, of course, is that you could get rained on, and that would be a real pain. But she's just about there.
Tay doing a little bit of mining.
Trying to get the remaining money that he needs. Yeah, Tay is not. The ores have not been particularly nice to him. That sapphire should put him over the edge.
Yeah, combined with the opal and the other ambers he's gotten, probably is enough.
All right, Katie with the sweet Ateno Tech Lab activation, and she will now get the camera room.
But it's looking a little tough for her right now. Tay is probably yeeting on over to the last Great Fairy. Well, probably needs to sell some stuff first, though.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. I mean, presumably there's just a
there's a stable along the way.
A stable along the way to sell to. Sell the beetle there. gets the VR super there. Very nice. That gives him the extra speed. That Great Fairy is still a ways away, but so the point of going into VR is to help induce lag. A super launch is done by pulling out your paraglider on a frame that the game is lagging out. That will when you see Tay doing all that pause buffering there, he is trying to induce lag. And then he is pausing, unpausing very briefly to see that the game is lagging, pausing again, and then he is going to close the menu and on the very next frame, open his paraglider. And by opening his paraglider on that frame, when it is lagging, he can increase the speed of his launch by 50%. Which, yeah, just means more speed, which is more distance. I believe the analysis says that if you know exactly where to look to get the lag, it is basically always worth going for a super launch. Guaranteeing lag, or lag is not a guarantee. And so that is why he's going into VR, to just try and help increase the chances that he'll get lag. Alrighty,
Katie putting
Katie
the
dropping
collecting
all
to
of
good
her
use.
equipment.
Take some pictures.
Getting that spear. Tay now going off Tingle Island. And, yep, gonna crest this hill, and I believe at that shrine there is a no, not that one specifically. But that's probably, he's gonna activate that as his warp point, because the Great Fairy is quite close by, literally right down below. And that will allow him to quickly warp back to the ferry once he has sold what he needs to.
Set himself up for victory.
Mm-hmm. Dahesho is both a good warp point for this ferry and also Terrytown. I don't think there are any Terrytown objectives in Bingo. That would be very involved, and people would probably never do it because of just the sheer amount of wood and rupees you need to farm in order to start that quest.
Quite a time investment, obviously.
Absolutely. All right, Tay making his way to the stable. Gonna have to find Beetle. There he is. As Katie warps to Kenamut.
That sapphire was enough.
Which is the Cryonis Shrine. Curious. I guess she's probably looking to do 3 Wasteland Koroks right now. Judging by the direction that she is moving in.
It'll be tough to get one done, unfortunately. Because Tay is ever so close to talking to that last Great Fairy and completing his bingo.
Yep, he has arrived. And that fairy looks paid to me. I don't know precisely if you need to wait for all these cutscenes to be over. GG's to Tay.
GG.
Well done.
1 hour, 8 minute, and 30-second victory. Bottom left, top right was the play. The Divine Beast coming in clutch, and 3 Great Fairies are now 1,600 rupees richer for all the trouble that they've gone through.
Absolutely. Either our runners care to hop in for a quick interview?
Katie's already here, I think.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
already
hello,
here.
Welcome, welcome.
GG.
Yeah, GG to you.
Thank you.
How did you feel about that card?
I mean, the card overall wasn't too bad. So I played it too risky because I knew I was going against Tay. And I don't run any speedrunning categories. I strictly just do bingos because I think bingos are fun. I've only just recently got decent at win bombs. So I knew, like, I didn't even think I'd get past the first round, to be honest. So the fact that I got past the first round, I already feel like a winner for that one. But yeah, yeah, it is what it is.
Well, excellent effort there.
GG's to you, Tay.
I still think you're a winner,
How'd that
Katie.
card feel for you?
It was an okay card. If I knew 15 in color Koroks, I definitely would have went for that row where beat Ganon. Korok scared me a little bit. It's the one thing I don't really know. So yeah.
That's why you got to add Hundo to have your full main board known.
Yeah. I should, yeah. But yeah, if I were to do that row, it'd probably been like a sub 1 hour bingo if I knew the Kala Koroks, but I went with like what I did know.
Definitely a sound strategy in a tournament.
Yeah.
Either of you have a particular highlight from this bingo?
I'm grabbing the mop when I had the torch.
Excellent.
I mean, I nailed the trick shot, lighting the furnace.
Yes.
So.
That was very nice. Very nicely done.
Very slick.
My one highlight win of this run. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna take my wins where I can. But
absolutely.
I just like it. I do bingos for fun. I do a lot of co-op bingos with a lot of beginners, and I don't run any categories. So I knew getting further in the tournament, like I can't beat Tay. Like Tay is just awesome.
You can still beat me. You just got to get in my head.
it's like
play a mental game.
Well, I mean, like I definitely think the bottom left, top right was a good play, but I just wasn't confident enough in doing the Divine Beast fast enough to want to do that. I was thinking that I could probably get 15 like equipment and compendium faster. I was not expecting to fail so much getting to that ancient arrow, but
yeah, it felt like that commitment to go for the ancient arrow early sort of just set you back because you just weren't able to get there fast enough. Whether it was because of death or because of bad wind bombs, it just sort of sapped a ton of time. So that when you finally were able to do it, obviously you were able to kill the Lionel right away, but then your travel woes sort of continued.
Yeah, I needed to have a flawless execution in order to be somewhat competitive with a player like Tay, and I just did not have that flawless execution, which has put me way further behind.
You did something I couldn't do, which is kill a Lionel. So,
I mean, I probably could have just like I had enough weapons from the Kamyatak Shrine. I probably could have just outright killed the Lionel in the amount of time it took me to get the ancient arrow. But it usually doesn't take me that long to get the ancient arrow. But you know.
It happens.
Things happen,
it's a bingo. Like stuff's gonna happen. You go into it, with that expectation. And like I said, I didn't expect to get to the second round. So the fact that I'm even here, I'm already a winner.
Yeah, you are a winner. Still a winner in my eyes.
Aw.
Excellent. Well, any closing thoughts before we wrap this all up?
Yeah, Naga, terrible shrine casually. I want my bomb arrows.
Should have saved one instead of using the last one on Windblight.
Yeah, I mean, Windblight like trolled me whenever it went to the fan that I was going to. It's because I took like 2 extra seconds to running over to the fan, so it went to where I was going. So I got trolled. But overall, it was a good one. I spent too much time on plateau, in my opinion. But yeah, Katie, you did well. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thanks. I got 1 goal. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both for competing in this Breath of the Wild Bingo Bash.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you, Katie, for making it to the second round, and GG's Tay on the win. And we look forward to watching you as you go forward in the tournament.
Who would I be going against next between the two?
Let me get the bracket open.
Yeah, I can pull the bracket up real fast. Look at me not ready with this info. You will face the winner of Cow Pyro versus Shadow Hunter 6.
Ooh, exciting.
Which
that match is happening
for
Saturday. Yeah, happening this Saturday, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, right here on Bingothon. But there's plenty more Breath of the Wild bingo action coming your way throughout the rest of the weekend. Friday, tomorrow, at the same time, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, Schwedemp versus Makar 090. And then a full day of matches on Saturday. Aforementioned Shadowhunter 06 versus Cal Pyro, but there's also Stompy versus Under the Bed. There's Yo-Yo Swift versus Sayogashi. Probably butchering all these names. And closing out the week with Daniel M1110 and Sir Tapir. There's just so much Breath of the Wild bingo action this weekend, and it's all right here on Bingothon. Do not miss a second.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much to our runners and commentators again. Again, we're going to be done for tonight, but again, we have some more Breath of the Wild matches coming up later in the week, and we also stream some Super Mario Sunshine Bingo League. The next match is Darkman versus Derp Space tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to go check that out, that'd be nice.
Yeah, that's my home turf. So if you are dissatisfied with my commentary on this Breath of the Wild bingo, then catch me on the SMS side. SMS.bingo has all the details.
Yes,
if you're
you could find a full schedule right there. Yeah, that's it for us. We are going to be rating Bing's F. He's currently doing a 100% Breath of the Wild speedrun. He's part of the Bingo League as well, so go check him out. Yeah, give him some good lucks in the chat. We'll see you next time. All right.